And just like that, a new episode is upon us. Welcome to TV&R. Today's guest, I'm, as I always say, super excited about. She's one of my favorite actors in the whole wide world. She is strong. She's a force. She just is graceful, has been one of the most kindest actors, has probably had some of or one of the most successful careers within the South African film and television industry. Zikhona Sodlaka will be in the building. In case you didn't know, the point of the podcast is to give you an insight into the television and radio industry. So if you're trying to, get in, if you're trying to figure it out, or if you are already a working television or radio personality, this podcast may come in handy. We are available on all major streaming sites. We are also now available on YouTube. So don't forget to comment, like, and share, subscribe. Without further ado, welcome to TV&R. This is TV&R. Welcome, the beautiful Zikhona Sodlaka.
Thank you. You're so
I'm so happy to be talking to you because we're supposed to hate each other, right?
Yeah, there's apparently something about us being nemesis on screen.
Well, I mean, our characters, but quite the opposite in real life. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
But I didn't know everything about you, so I did do some Googling. And you've been around, hey? I mean, like, you've been here for a minute. Let's see, a place called home. After 9, before they titled After 9, like an After 9, right?
Yeah, I was on After 9. Yeah.
Generations, you were on Generations.
Of course. Just like you were.
Yes, probably the most watched show, not probably, one of the most watched shows in the country still to this day. And it started a lot of careers as well. I mean, Connie Ferguson was on there.
It's a career launcher.
Other than that, it's like one of those things that you want to do, right?
No. But it is a career launcher, though.
Okay,
whether you knew it was going to launch your career or your career gets proper launch like a couple of years later, but it's that stuff. It's a stamp. It says I am a South African citizen.
Yes.
Real.
I'm a South African actress. You were also on Grassroots, of course, Housekeepers, Igazi, Montana. I mean, the list goes on. You've been doing this for so long. What do you think has, made your career so successful over so many years compared to, a lot of actors who we've seen come and go?
Yeah, well, I think the thing that sustains, I don't even know if the word is sustainability. I'm just a working class. I'm a working woman who loves her job, I don't see the reason why I should stop yet. There isn't anything that's making me stop. It's just, I love it so much that I just want to do more.
Yeah.
And if there's any other levels it can take me to, I want to go there.
What are those levels? Tell us, which levels are you trying to go to?
I think maybe the plan is to just keep working. So do whatever it takes to keep working.
Yeah.
You want to learn? You want to go work in America?
Yeah.
Go venture into that. You want to work in Europe? Venture into that.
What does Zikhona want?
With the acting career?
Yeah.
To do better work, man, and to do incredible work, and to tell stories that go with the times, or maybe important stories of throughout time. I want to be part of that. I want to be part of whatever women are, or whatever like us Black people are, or people are and are going to be and are becoming. I just want to continue doing that. Honestly.
Are you wearing a ring, Sissy? Are you wearing a ring? Oh, are you married to Africa?
It's blinging pretty nice, though. I'm not gonna lie. It's just
blinding me.
It could confuse a person.
Yeah. Speaking of being confused, have you ever felt like confused on sets? And be honest, and a lot of people ask, I mean, over so many years, I'm sure you've had many lovers on screen. Have you ever felt some type of way?
For a man?
Yeah.
I'll tell you this for free.
Oh, woman.
One of the first. Oh, okay. One of the first shows. I don't think I'm that way inclined. 1,000 years ago when it all started, right? There was a show called Cha-Cha that I was part of.
Yes. I mean, hello.
Yes. And so I played alongside one of this, just a normal guy. It's a guy called Shomla Dandala. Ain't a thing.
Yeah.
Ain't a thing.
Yeah.
So, first gig working alongside Shomla Dandala.
Wasn't he dating a continuity presenter at the time?
Candice.
Yes. And like, if you were a continuity presenter,
you were the one. You were the it girl. I don't know, but I think he was in his prime. He still is. This was over 10 years ago, so you can imagine. I mean, I'd been watching Derek Nyati since when I was this tall, and I used to dream of Derek Nyati dating my older sister.
And now
here I am having kissing scenes with this man.
Yes.
First gig. Oh my gosh. So we do the scene, so we have a whole kissing scene. We finish. So I walk off and I go into the house. You know how they'd kiss at the gate and the girl gets into the house and the boy is standing lingering at the gate. Your friend here gets into the house and starts screaming.
But they're still shooting outside.
And my locale is on. So the poor guy is doing his job there, playing his moment.
Oh my God.
In the house with whoever received me inside the house going, oh my God. So unforgettable. The producers came to me. They're just like, listen, you do know that your mic is
What do you think? What do you think of Derek Nyati now? Do you still like? Hello.
No,
sir.
I mean, then you work together for. He's always going to remain one of the most handsome guys in South Africa.
Yeah,
that's one thing about it. It's like you'll never stop being one of the most beautiful women in this continent.
And you
even
as well.
When you're 100. Well, thank you.
So nice.
But yeah, so it doesn't stop. He is, and I mean, you know how men grow. The older they get, they fade.
No, I don't know how men grow, but. Never seen a man grow. My mom's listening. Yeah. Anyway, this was your first gig. And I mean, the point of the podcast is to support, people who are either in the industry or are looking to be in the industry. How did you get your first job?
So I'm minding my own business. I'm 20. Yes, I'm 20. A friend of mine owns an agency. I will not name and shame what that agency is because it's a conversation for another day.
Okay.
And I had signed on to him to do in between school promotions. And so he had an acting agency and he had a side promotions agency. So I was doing so bad with the promotions. I did one of them and I was like, nah, not for me. I'm not great at it. I answer back and stuff. So we became friends with this gentleman. And fast forward, he gets a brief for this character called Zikhona Sodlaka. Gives me a call and says, here's a script.
Wow.
I'd like you to check it out. Yeah. At that time, I was thinking of going to a place called the Actors Center, procrastinating, not having 200 Rand to sign up per month.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, my dream is to go to Actors Center in civil theater. Never went. And then so he gave me the brief and then he said, why don't you just learn the script and I'm coming to pick you up on such and such a day. He comes to pick me up, he takes me to the audition. I was so clueless. Thando. I'm there to play like a mechanic tomboy, right?
Yeah.
In a long pink skirt and my high heels. And
honey.
I was so off. I was so off. And I think I didn't get the character bio.
Yeah.
Right?
But do you think even if you got the character bio, you would have put two and two together? Because a lot of people don't know that your best luck is to come dressed as the character.
To be in character when you arrive. I do think I would have at least, I mean, because I had a bit of information, but you're playing a human. Maybe. Had I seen that it's a mechanic tomboy, I wouldn't have gone in my heels and my pink, long, flowy dress. Rapunzel.
Yes.
But better yet, I get to the audition and it's just all my favorite actors.
Whoa.
Lines just waiting to go inside.
Wow.
Just like, deep end match?
Yeah.
Swim with the sharks match? I'm like, dear friend of mine, can we just exit frame, please, to go home?
Because it's not happening. But it did.
Sure.
But it did. So your first audition, you landed. Crazy. It's insane.
It's nonsense.
I mean, that doesn't happen very often. But it's nonsense. A lot of people like literally want to die. Do you think it's something that you always wanted? It was something you stumbled upon? Was this a dream of yours?
Nah, it wasn't my dream.
No. That's so unfair. You know why it's so unfair? Because there's so many people who it's literally their dream and they try for so long. But I mean, that comes to say a lot about your talents.
And maybe fate.
Yeah.
And maybe fate.
Yeah.
Because some of the things that we think we're not called to do are the ones that we are.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember your story. You're an accountant or a numbers girl.
Yes.
And you're not supposed to fall into the arts, but you longed for it and you did it.
Yeah.
Because it's fate, no matter who says what. So it was fate. But as soon as it found me, then I had no choice but to educate myself.
Yes. You see, there's two ways, right, around this. It's either the beginner's luck that you speak of, or the struggle, which could in the long end benefit you because you learn so much in the struggle, unlike learning on the job. Now you're on TV publicly making all of those mistakes.
100%. I mean, you will laugh at all the mistakes. I actually should just
tell us, what are they?
I should tell them, like not knowing how to hit a mark, really, really just missing the whole point about like
squaring up,
shot and squaring up, and you're not always going to be. You're going to be in a set with highly professional people. You must save their time.
Yeah,
they know what they're doing. You better not sleep in the middle of the night learning
lines,
what is to square up, so that know how to square up.
Except no one prepares you to know what square up is, unless of course you've gone to school. I mean, I remember doing a scene with Lillian Dube. Come on, right? It was My Perfect Family, season 1. I'm like 19. They say, all right, square up. I'm like,
and you're like this.
Like, where did you find this girl? But that's the joys of it as well. What are some of the mistakes though that you made in your life because you were now in the limelight, and it's something that came literally out of nowhere? Do you think there are any?
Nah, I can't think of any mistakes. I might have enjoyed the joyride a bit too much before realizing that it's a business. And because I started when I was a kid, and like by the time I'm 25, my career supersedes my age, as it still does. And so I'm just joyriding along, and it's nice to be a 25-year-old in this business in 2020, because you know that it's worth millions, and you treat it as a business. But I wouldn't change it for a thing, because it kind of gives me a few stripes that I wouldn't get anywhere else had I not just gotten on the roller coaster ride.
Yeah, I think a very important point that you mentioned is actors treating it as a business. Do you think actors in South Africa are getting that it's a business?
Few and far between. But I do want, sometimes I just say, but this is the nature of an artist. Like, it's not just the South Africans. Like, even when you watch like Entourage, there you are, you're watching that guy could be a superstar, but he's too lazy to read the scripts.
Yeah.
And he's just not trying to be going to the meetings. It's the nature of being the product, because you are the thing that's being sold. You're not in the business of selling it. So if you were a drink, you'd be the Coca-Cola, chilling there, being the best drink in the world.
Chilled, like,
and someone must sell you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you are the best drink in the world, so you don't really need too much. So it is more in the character of the artist than just us. And then of course there's us as the South Africans who are taking our own sweet time to catch on, but we really are catching on.
I think we're moving in a beautiful direction.
I'm not in the entertainment industry. I'm in the... Okay, that's great. I love it. Also, how is your light looking so perfect? You look so nice there. Here I am looking spotless. How did you do that? It's like, like you're wearing black, but I can see all of it.
Well, I mean, I do this like every 2 weeks, so it better be right. Like, you know what I mean? You can be forgiven. I better get it right.
Yeah,
I better get it right. How's you? I'm sniffing because I've got the cold. And no, you know when you these days if you sneeze, everyone looks at you like
Corona.
Someone was telling me today, Barry, if there's one thing you don't want to do is sneeze in a taxi because then everyone's like, wow, like you just killed someone. How's the life as an actress during COVID-19?
Honey, should we tell people that we're in the same production?
No, let's not tell them yet. No.
Okay. Girl, I don't know. You know, I don't know. It's great.
Oh my gosh.
Don't say nothing. Thando.
Zikhona.
Stupid. Stop it. No, yeah, it's very tricky. Generally, I mean, people can't even hug in the streets, you know?
Yeah.
And how dumb is the fact that we're in the business of human beings, like we're in the business of touch, speak.
Yes.
And here we are not being able to do either of those things on command. Like, I have to love you enough to not hug you because just in case I have it, but I'm immune or something.
Yeah.
Just doesn't give me symptoms. But I still want to hug you because I love seeing you. So it's navigating I mean, people who are working with computers who get to work and sit in their cubicle and they have it good right now. We're reinfecting each other as naturally as it should.
Yeah. A lot of writers have complained about how they've had to like rewrite their series where if say there's a lover who's like now making extreme love, now they have to love each other with their eyes. Has that happened to you as yet?
I do have a few love scenes that are coming, and I do know that we might need to change them around in this little show that I'm doing. Yeah, I think we might need to change them around because we had the writer/director had written this beautiful, elaborate scene, and it's important because do not expose much.
Yes, and don't tell us the whole story.
Yeah, but and the thing about the writers is that they don't always just write love scenes for the fun of it.
Yeah.
Most of the time, they're really crucial to the story. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And then there they are, eliminated. So we might or might not.
I feel like you're saying a little too much about this production, and I'm going to have to ask.
No, you don't. You don't. But you don't know if I'm talking about the production.
Okay, tell us about this production that I may be thinking about. What is it about? Can you tell us?
So there's this girl called Thabethe, just an absolutely amazing legendary star who is in the show that was created by Jahmil Qubeka. A little while back, I got a call about a year ago when he was like, "Yo, I've added you into the show." He'd probably been creating it for a very long time now because of the genre. The genre is epic, and epic means
next
Lord
level.
of the Rings, Game of Thrones, The Last Kingdom, that's the genre epic. And so right now, we're in the middle of creating the first epic. That is first African created epic.
I'm so excited. I mean, I remember jumping onto, we went to the Reed and they did a tour of the studio, obviously without getting and it was just epic. I was just like, is this happening right now? And then you walk on set and it got me so excited about the future of, productions in this country. And I think what it will do is open the eyes to producers, to us artists, to what can be, because it's always been something that is for other people or that is for and not for us. How did you feel when, when you go on sets and every day, how do you feel?
Just even that tour you're talking about of seeing the grounds and seeing, we're creating something that we've been watching from other worlds and other countries. Look.
Yeah.
And then you just have no choice but to just dive right in. And then you arrive on set and it's just like everybody else showed up.
Yeah.
The stage is set.
Yeah.
Or just do your part. And it's big and you're just like, I have no choice. I can't let myself down.
Yeah.
I need to jump. And because the cast I mean, without revealing too much, but I must brag. How incredible is the cast?
Dude, when I sat in that read, I looked around me, and they had like A4 cutouts of like the entire cast, and it's a huge ensemble cast. And I'm just like, these people, and are the best in this country. Just like, you know, I wish I could name drop right now, but let's not do that.
I know, right?
Yeah, I was about to.
No, we're not doing that.
We're not doing that. We're not doing that. You also mentioned that Jahmil called you for this role. A lot of people get antsy about those kind of things. I personally believe that, you know, if I wrote something and I have someone in mind for it, I will call them for it. For other roles, I have auditions. Maybe for my main role, I'll decide to have auditions because I can't think of anyone who can pull it. How do you react to, say, any negativity towards not having to audition for a role?
Well, I'll tell you something for free. Yesterday, I was at an audition. So when you're called for some roles, it doesn't mean you don't audition for others.
Yeah.
I was so excited to be in an audition yesterday because,
right?
firstly, we don't even get to go to the audition room anymore because of COVID. But we mustn't think that, you know, one gets a smooth ride all the time. But to whom much is given, much must be given.
Yes.
I cannot say there's anything wrong with the person who wants to work with me on a project, who calls me. I deserve it. It's my right. You deserve it. It's your right. The third person deserves it. It's their right. The nature of shying away from people who deserve what they get in South Africa just must stop.
I 100% agree. I also
because
think
it happens. It happens fairly, whether it's a new face or not. A person who gets a call to do work must do it, especially when they prove that it is right for them.
Yeah. Also, I'm just like, if you'd focus all of that energy on yourself and not on, you know, the other person and what the other person is or is not doing, you'd find that you get so much more happening. Let's talk about auditioning actually during Corona. A lot of self-tapes happening. How have you found that experience?
My gosh, firstly, I don't know what kind of actress you are, but are you the kind of actress that can watch yourself?
Yes. At
oh,
first
girl,
not.
You're
at
so
first
much
not.
more professional than I am.
At
I'm
first
still
not. At first not. So it's harder for me if I'm watching on TV, especially I can't watch in the room with other people. I can do it on my own. Just
I understand.
don't sit with me because that's
completely.
weird. That's
yeah, you know.
But the advantage with self-tapes is when you go into an audition room, you don't get to see what you're submitted. And now you can do a couple of takes, right?
Yes. That right there, what you said, is that now you get this opportunity of just taping yourself the way that you want. You've got 5 takes to do it. You get a moment to think, oh, actually, take 1 was great, as it usually is.
Yeah.
And you know, and
give it to us, Zikhona.
No. Listen, because I've been learning how to self-tape so much on YouTube.
Yeah.
All the advice, I'm sure you've had to do the same thing too.
Yes.
How do I put the camera? How do I lens?
Tell us, what have you learned? What have you learned?
So, not that I'm belittling. I now respect the job of a casting director even more. Let's just put that disclaimer out there, because setting up the room and setting the mood right is not my forte. I don't want it to be until I'm casting directing something, right?
Yeah.
But as the actress, I don't want to set up the mood my own self. So then I went onto YouTube to go and learn how to do it right. And they say, get a light, try and do it during the day where there's natural light. Try and find a plain background. Hopefully, because we're dark skinned, you don't want your wall to be black because you're black too, but any other color works for a dark skinned person. You don't want it to white because the camera, white and camera don't get along too much, as just a rule of thumb. You kind of want it to be neutral colors. You don't really want it to be yellow or green or too bright and stuff like that. So that's what I learned. I learned that you have to invest in yourself. You have to get the equipment. You have to get yourself a good camera that's going to make you look nice. You have to get a little tripod. You have to get a little situation. That's what we learned the hard way. And it still feels like a privilege having those things, because we don't all have these gadgets, these phones that break so quickly, you know?
Yeah.
And even having it, I was like, wow, what a privilege. I have a cool phone that I can record on.
Mm.
But I wouldn't swap it for going to the audition room any day. Like I said yesterday when I had that audition, I was wondering why I was so happy when I was driving home. I'm like, why are you so excited? I'm like, because I actually had chemistry with a real human being.
I think other than that, for me, it's always like I get like a good nervous, you know, like you would when you know, but now when you're at
on
home
the day,
yourself,
you're too chilled.
You're like,
yeah, you're too chilled.
Yeah.
You're too chilled, and plus, and then sometimes you're lucky if you have someone to read with you.
Yes.
So it's nice to have the casting director there who you know got briefed by the director that this is how I'd like the character played. So let's play within these notes.
Mm-hmm.
And she comes and she says, these are the notes we're playing with. Let's not get to 7. Let's play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Da-da-da. And you're like, oh, okay. Because you know that it's the actual project. You're not guessing.
Yeah.
You're not doing it by yourself thinking, oh, I wonder what the director's notes are for this character.
Or I wonder what else they would have liked me to do, you know? We've seen you act for years, like I mentioned earlier. You're probably one of the best to do it. I remember when I was on set with you at Housekeepers initially, I was like, her acting is so weird because I love to like watch people. Like I'm a people watcher. I was like, her acting is so weird. It's like different. Like I wasn't sure where you were placing it until I watched it back. And I'm like, what a genius. What a, I promise you, in the motions, because like in the rhythm of your character's talking is different from the rhythm of Zikhona's talking. You were so precise.
Yes, of course.
Even you see, I was just like, why is she talking like that? And I'm like, this girl is on another level because her acting is so good. She's changing the rhythm of the way she talks. Literally, I was dumbfounded at your brilliance.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you so much.
And you made it so easy to hate you. You know, you made it my job really, really simple. What do you think makes you so great, and how do you prepare for a character? Like, what are sort of, without obviously going into too much depth, what are some of the processes once you book a role? What work do you put in to create this person?
Firstly, I don't know if they get to tell you this a lot, but you are really good at your job, and I love the fact that you make being beautiful. Because beautiful people usually work hard. It's hard for us to like pretty people because you're beautiful.
You're so nice.
And I love people.
Thank you.
This is your reaction every time I pass a compliment. You're like, you're too nice. Stop it. But so kudos. You're not getting what you're getting because you don't deserve it. So yes.
Thank you.
So what's my process? Man, because the roller coaster ride has been going on for so long. Now I know how to find a human being, and I kind of make it small now as to how to play the person and then where's their world. Mm-hmm. So if you're playing a stripper, immediately there's a spirit that comes over you. There's a spirit of suave. You come from a really centered place. You use a different chakra. You need to figure out which chakra you're working from. Yeah. There's a very a womb sensation to a sex worker. Yeah. So you always work from that place. And that feels different, and it plays different, and it speaks different. And if you're playing an egotistical person, you're playing from a different chakra. Yeah. You're playing from up here. You're sitting up straight. You're lined. You all of that stuff. And it comes, and it and then you find the people who are like that, and you're like, oh, so I'm not mad. They really are squares.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But people also have many layers to them, right? It's like no one is one thing. And you depicted it really well on Housekeepers. And as much as you were, the bitch that was, meant to be hated, you almost felt sorry for her because bad people don't know that they're bad people. So they're not working from a bad place. Back in the day, you watch a villain and the villain says, I'm going to kill you. And they're like evil people. But that's not what evil people really are like.
Not all of them, because of course there are the Lucifers of this world who are just like,
course.
I want to kill you. But all two of them,
Yes.
we played all of them. But yeah, I don't think bad people know they're bad people, or maybe sometimes they just want to be seen as bad because they're actually sad. I mean,
Yeah.
can you imagine what it's like to be a lonely woman where all the financial things you've wanted are purchased for you, but you got them in a mean way or in a way you're not
But either
proud
way,
of?
you're working from a much deeper level than just being just evil. You know what I mean? You're working from a place of, I want to come across as evil because so much bad has happened to me, or I'm so hurt. Yeah.
Hurt people.
Yeah.
And they're so protective, and that's why they have that wall. Usually behind that wall is just like a lake with ducks.
Yeah. I'm going to let you go because I know you got a night happening. Last thing I want to ask you is young people watching this, because we spoke a lot about, people who are in the industry or up and coming, sort of just starting off or trying to grow their art. What advice would you give to young people or old people who are trying to break in?
Treat it like a job. Treat it.
But I don't have a job, and as a corner, I'm trying to break in.
Okay. So treat it the same way you would treat looking for a job at Checkers, looking for a job at the accounting firm, looking for a marketing job.
Yes.
Be as precise as you possibly can.
Yes.
If you're trying to get into a show, learn that show. If you're trying to get into Generations, learn how to do a brow, because everyone is pretty there. If you're trying to get into...
I mean, you're not going to have to do your own brow at Generations.
But you know what I mean? Like, you're not going to go to the audition
with your brow not done.
Know where you're going. Know where you're trying to get yourself in. If you're trying to get into the advert world, then understand how adverts work. And there's no excuse now. I say it all the time. If I could get into acting 16 years ago as a 19-year-old without Google, now you can. Now you can literally go into a masterclass by Meryl Streep. By
imagine. You can get taught by Samuel L. Jackson.
Samuel L. Jackson can show you what an audition room looks like. He has a masterclass where he says, you're going to get into the room, you're going to stand on a spot, someone's going to ask you your name.
Yeah.
Samuel, I hadn't even thought about it like that, Thando. That you're actually being taught how to audition by the likes of Samuel L. Jackson.
And we have TV&R where we get to speak to Zikhona about her journey, and she can tell us about the mistakes of not, hitting her marks when she needed to hit her marks, so to hit your mark.
Then there's TV&R. Actually, full stop.
Zikhona, it's been amazing. Thank you so much. You are an inspiration. I love you with my heart and soul. I actually watched you from a very young age. I don't think I've ever told you. And it hit me actually when you spoke about Cha-Cha. Like, I watched Cha-Cha, as a kid. You're making me feel so much younger. Like, I'm not that much younger than you. I feel like...
No, I don't think so. I'm 35.
I'm 35.
Okay.
So, but how old were you when you started Cha-Cha?
19.
So if you're 35, I'm 30. So I was 14.
5 years.
Yeah, so that's a big
gap. But remember when you're younger, it's
everyone
bad.
looks older.
Everyone looks older. Yeah. When you're 11 and someone is 15, it's like, oh my gosh. But yet when you're 32, when someone's 30, it's like 3 years is nothing when you're older. But when you're a kid,
you're 35. My gosh, like, wow. How did I not know that? But wow, like. Wow, you like you said, your career supersedes your age. Like, you've just done incredibly well. You continue to be an absolute inspiration, so kind, so humble, and just, I mean, you know when to give it when you gotta give it. But otherwise, just absolute loving human soul. I love you with my heart and soul, and I thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, and I feel the same for you. Thank you.
Well, I hope that episode was insightful. I hope that you learned a thing or two, and that you can take away something from Zikhona Sodlaka. I'm sure there's one or two things. or 100 that you would have learned in that podcast. Remember to share with all your industry friends, whether already in the industry or, you know, trying to break in. As I usually say, we are available and on YouTube. So don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Also, do feel free to send suggestions of guests that you think would be fantastic. Perhaps you're interested in being a casting director. I can make that happen. I can find or call you know, 1 or 2 people. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you in 2 weeks' time.